Good morning, Rabbi Isai. Live from Lincolnwood. We're holding 3 lines from the bottom Daf Pei Aleph Amud Beis, 80 Daf into Chulin. We learned in the Mishnah that according to Reb Shimon, we're talking about Oisev es Benai, the Isser to shecht a mother and her offspring on the same day. As we will see the following Mishnah, or Mishnayos, the Isser applies also to shechting the offspring and then the mother and then the offspring. It doesn't really matter. But it has to be a shechita. You have to shech the mother and then shech the offspring in order to be over. If you kill the mother and shech the offspring, you're not over. Reb Shimon comes along and says that in order to be over, it has to be a shechita that creates a heter to eat the meat. And then he gives a whole list of things. The Mishnah says that if you find out that the animal's a treifa, you can't eat the meat. So therefore, there's no isser to shech the offspring that same day. If you're doing avodah zarah with the second animal, or the first animal, that was the discussion in the Gemara, but you're doing avodah zarah, you can't eat the meat because it's asa b'hana. And one of the things the Mishnah mentions is paras chatas. This is the para aduma. Paras chatas, shchita sheina rui. But why is it one of the things in the list? And the Gemara is going to end off saying that it's a mistake. It shouldn't have said this in the Mishnah. You're right. The problem is, that there's tuma that the food receives, the paraduma receives, and can give off. So in other words, if a sheretz touches the paraduma, it becomes, the sheretz is avatuma. It drops down one level. The avatuma sheretz touches food. The food becomes a rishon, drops. And then that rishon, if it touches another food, it drops down one level, becomes a sheni. Why? Because, as the Gemara is going to explain, it's not usher right away to eat. There's a period of time where you could exchange this paraduma, use a better one, a different one. And Memela, why are you telling me that the shechita of the paraduma is not considered a shechita that enables you to eat the meat? Maybe you could eat the meat. Now, just to explain real quickly, a small point that Rashi points out here. Everybody should be asking the question of paraduma is so tameh. We all know the interesting halach about paraduma, that the person who sprays the water, he himself becomes tameh. The water makes somebody else tar, but the one spraying, why? Because paraduma is tameh. So it doesn't mean that the paraduma has tumas oichel. It has more than tumas oichel. It's tameh. Forget about tumas oichel. So Rashi comes up with a whole thing. There's other Rishonim that answer other things, but just wanted to show you this picture. I asked Yosh to make it. I hope it's not too confusing. But basically, Rashi says that if you wrap a small piece of paraduma meat in dough, if it's considered food, then it could be part of the dough and be mitzaref to the shear of a kibetza, to be metama tumas oichlin. Otherwise, if you don't have this halacha that's metama tumas oichlin, then it would not be mitzaref. So you have a half a kibetza of meat, like in this picture, together with a half a kibetza of dough, it won't become tummy. It wouldn't be tumas oichlin if it's not considered food. Okay, just a side note, not to confuse anybody. So top of Daf Pei Beis Amud Aleph, Amar Reb Shimon ben Lakish, Omer Hoyer Reb Shimon Para Nivtis Agabe Marachta. See what we have here for marachas here. This is the marachta. What they would do is, since paraduma is so rare, they would take a ton of wood and burn the paraduma on that wood, and every single part, every piece of ash from all that wood is considered paraduma ashes, and then they can use it for hundreds of years. Sometimes a couple hundred years for one paraduma. Oh. So even after you shechted the paraduma, it's on top of the wood, ready to go burn, you're allowed to redeem it. And Rashi sticks in a yesod here. I don't have Kobe because it's the middle of the night here. But Rashi, I'll just read Rashi. It's a very important Rashi. There's a few yesodas here in Rashi. And we're not going to read other Rashis. Don't worry about it. Just one Rashi. Even if you shechted it properly, she's on the wood, ready to burn. You don't have to redeem it, but since you could redeem it, it's as if you did redeem it, and therefore it has the effect on it as if it's edible, since you could redeem it. You can't eat a regular paraduma, but this paraduma, since you could redeem it, then you would be able to eat it. Even though you never redeemed it, it's as if you did redeem it. This is what he's asking. We know that a paraduma has inherent tumah. It doesn't have to accept tumah soichel. It's talking about the piece of meat that they covered it with dough. Okay, fine. If it has the tumah vaychal, then it will be mitzarv. That's what I showed you the picture before. End the story. Says Rabbi Yochanan, this that we said in the Mishnah, paras chatos, you gotta erase. It doesn't belong in the Mishnah. You're right. It's not, paraduma is not something that's not ro'el achila. It is ro'el achila. Because kol ha'omer l'padis kipadidami, it's ro'el achila. Yeah? What happened? They started making the covers like in Europe? That they don't come off? It does come off, okay. This was soivel, this noyre guitar. It doesn't come off in Europe. You have to... Something's wrong with them. Ve'egla rufa. So now we go to the next thing in the Mishnah. If you have, what's the egla rufa? You find a dead person, and you're not sure what city the murderer came from, so you have to measure the close city, and you bring a calf, chop, cut its head off, in nachaleisan, the whole thing. So the egla arufa, if you shecht the egla arufa, before you chop its head off, you shecht it, you don't, and then you want to shecht its son, you're not over an oisav his benoi. And the Gemara is going to do the same exact thing to prove that you could eat it, and if you could eat it, according to Reb Shimon, you are over an oisav his benoi. So then the Gemara is going to say the same exact thing. That what? What did we say before? On paraduma? Anybody remember?
Mishnah.
Huh?
Ain't a Mishnah.
Ain't a Mishnah. So we're going to do the same thing, ain't a Mishnah. It's not part of the Mishnah. Vegla rufa. Lav shchita ruyi. What? If you shecht it, it's not appropriate shchita, you can't eat it. But nah, nimtza ahireg actually tarif egla. Listen to this. What if you cut the egla rufa's head off? And then you find out that this guy wasn't murdered. Are you allowed to eat the egla rufa? Is it also ba'ana? Also forget it, you can't eat it because there's no shchita. Is it also ba'ana? You say you can't.
I chopped it off.
But it was a mistake. The whole thing was a mistake. You're right. Even though it was a mistake, it's still also ba'ana. Okay. So now, but now, nimsa hayrig actually ta'arif ha'egla. What if we found the murder? They bring this calf down. They're in the process. I'm going to show you a video. They almost kill it, but they we found the murderer. Take it there. No problem. Let it go. Because they didn't kill it yet. So what do you see? That, why are you telling me that the shchita doesn't allow for it to be eaten? Maybe, what if they brought the guy there and they said, hey, we found the murderer. So we have to pay attention here. Rish Lakish didn't say it himself. He says it in the name of Rabbi Yanai. Says there's a certain time where you can't do this anymore. You can't take it back. But I forgot what it is. And me and my friends, we sat together and we tried to figure it out. And we figured out, once it goes down to the river, to the bed, the rock bed, There's two pshatim what Nachal Eisan is. Nachal Eisan is this machlokes. It doesn't mean you bring it down to a dry river like hard rocks, or it has water in it or whatever. So you doesn't Nachal Eisan Isarto. Just going down, you don't have to kill it. Just bring it down there. That makes it also. The Misa, and if it's true, the Shani can't call them Yurida, can't lacha Yurida. Why can't you answer the contradiction and say, look, there's a difference between whether you brought it down completely or you didn't. Before you brought it into the river, then you could take it back. But once you bring it down, you can't take it back. Or we didn't hear it from Reb Yanai. Reb Yanai, you're right. Reb Yanai himself says that he sat with his friends and he figured out that when you bring it down to the river, that's when it becomes awesome. No. It's not Rish Lakish saying in the name of Reb Yanai, because then we have a problem. Reb Yanai himself says, bring it down. It's not Reb Yanai. It's Rish Lakish himself says it, without Reb Yanai. That what? Egla Rufa in a Mishnah. Rish Lakish holds. Egla Rufa is not part of our Mishnah. Ask the Gemara, Omer Rav Ashi, Kavinu Be'er Public Ashkelon, we asked the question, Omer Rav Shimon Lakish Achi, did Rish Lakish say this? Ba'id Matzi, Pari Mitzarya. So what's there's two birds when the process of Mitzarya is a very long process. It's a whole, take the blood, put it on his thumb, and on his big toe, and the oil, and the big toe, his thumb, for the rest of the blood on his head. But here's the two birds. We take two birds. They look like, what are they called? Drawer. How do you say drawer in English? Tzipurei drawer. They have them here. They have them everywhere. Those little brown birds. Sparrows. You take two sparrows, I believe, and one of them you shecht, pour the blood into the special water that you got from the Mayan. The second bird, you tie up to the Ezaiv, you dip it into the blood, and you sprinkle the guy with this bird, and then you let the bird fly away in the field. That's the second bird. Here it is. One sparrow, you take the blood, the other sparrow, you sprinkle, and then you let him go. This is all part of the Mitzarya, shave him, Tnufa, put some oil in his ear, Zashemen, wow. Okay, and leftover oil, you smear all over his head, Yishmak. So, we have something very similar to the Egla Rufa with these birds. The Ba'id Ma'atziparim Mitzayra Mimasa Nesarim, when do they become Aser? When you shecht it. When you purchase it. Now, my time is Reb Shimon Lakish. Why does Reb Shimon Lakish say when you purchase the birds they become Aser? Gomar kicha Mizdei Ephraim. Now I just want to see if you guys are reading with me. Not really. Everybody knows kicha Mizdei Ephraim. Oh, without looking inside. Kicha Me'egla Rufa. So, that what? You learn from Egla Rufa that it becomes also when they're alive still. When the Egla Rufa is alive. Not after the Shechita, alive. Just like the Egla Rufa is also when it's alive, so too. But let me ask you something. Egla Rufa is not also when you buy it. The most makel shita is when you bring it down to Nachal Eisan. It's either when you bring it down to the riverbed or when you chop its head off. Nobody says that when you purchase it. So how come over here Reb Lakish says when you purchase it? So Rashi answers because there's no other step. That's the only step. Purchase and shchita. There's nothing in between. By Egla Rufa, there's the in-between step. There's purchase, bringing it down to the river, okay. But the point is similar. That what? They become also when it's alive. Egla Rufa in a Mishnah, not Rish Lakish, not Reb Yanai, not... It's Rabbi Yochanan who says, Egla Rufa Eina Mishnah, take it out of the Mishnah. Interesting Gemara. Two things in the Mishnah, gone. Very rare, but that's what it is. Alright, Zdok the Mishnah, new sugya. You guys, if you weren't with it, brand new Masechta here. Shnayim Shalokhu Paro Bna. Two separate people, Reuven and Shimon, bought a mother and a son. One bought the mother, one bought the son. Who can do shchita? They both want to eat. It's the end of the 9 days. It's Matzah Tisha B'Av. They both want meat. The Mishnah says that whoever bought first. So the guy sold, there was a guy that had the mother and the son, and he sold to Reuben, he sold the mother, and to Shimon he sold the son. The one who bought first gets the shecht first. Why? Because he bought all the rights from the owner.
He wants something.
The owner doesn't have a right to shech the son anymore. When the owner sells the first one, the owner can't shech the son because he just sold his rights to the other guy, the shech. So when the second guy comes along, he's actually buying whatever whatever the owner, the seller, whatever rights he has, and he doesn't have the right to shech. So he can't. The second guy can't be better than the owner, than the seller. Nachama. If you have 2 animals and you sell one, that means you're giving up your right to shech that son today because you sold it to somebody else. You're giving him the right to shech that day. So once you gave up your right, now somebody else comes along and wants to buy the son, you don't have any rights left. You can't give him more than what you have. So it says the Mishnah, the one who purchases first, he gets to shech first. If he purchases the son, so he gets to shech the son. If he purchases the mother, he gets to shech the mother. But whoever purchases first, and if the second one jumps ahead and shechs first, zacha. So I want to point out, we're going to see in a second, Omer Rav Yosef, linyan dinatnan. This is not Isser and a heter. This is, you go to Bezdin and Bezdin is going to ask you, you're going to ask Bezdin, who gets the shech? We both need the meat very badly. We both have a chassan tonight. Bezdin is going to paskin whoever bought first. You're screaming, the second guy wants it more. He needs it more. He's more desperate. Too bad. La halacha, the first. But is it us or no? There's no Isser. Bezdin is going to paskin, in Hilchas Mamnis, they're going to paskin that the first guy has the right. In Kadam Hasheni, so the point is, in Kadam Hasheni, because he's not a Rasha. The first guy didn't tell anybody that he wants a shech. So the second one went ahead and shechted first. Had the first one announced that he wants the shech, and the second one jumped in and did it first, he's doing the wrong thing. He's a chayta. In Kadam Hasheni, harei zaraz v'nizkar. If the second guy doesn't ask any questions, he didn't hear that the first one wants to shech, and he went ahead and he shechted, he's a zaraz. How do you say zaraz in English? Expeditious. Okay, expeditious, mate. So says the Gemara, why is he zaraz v'niskar? He got paid. Zaraz shali avad isura. He did it in a way where there's no isur. Why? Because he didn't know that the other guy wants to shech. V'niskar, the ka'achal bisra. It's mamish in Yonah the Yoma today. Zaraz v'niskar. The 9 days we don't eat meat. This guy was zoichet to eat the meat. Shachat para. Okay. This is great, this Mishnah. I think you're going to enjoy this Mishnah a lot. Shachat para v'achkach shnei bonel. You shecht one mother and then 2 offsprings. How many isurim did you just do? If you shecht one mother, 1 offspring, you're over on 1. 1 mother, 2 offsprings, how much? Soifeg shmoinim, you're over on 2 isurim. So that brings us to a beautiful sugya. If a person eats 2 pieces of something that's also to eat, 2 pieces of chaylev, how many malchus does he get? It's a whole sugya. But here's a great case. Listen to this. Without peeking inside, if you shecht a mother cow and a granddaughter, are you over a noise of his benoy? No. What happens if you shecht a mother and a granddaughter, and then afterwards you shecht the daughter, the one that connects the 2? Are you over on 2 yisurim when you shecht that middle one? So that's what the Mishnah is going to discuss here. I'm telling you, it's geshmak stuff. Shachat shnei boneha v'achkach shachata. So this is beautiful. If you shecht 2 sons and then the mother, you're only over an oisiv b'noi on the second animal. The first animals that you shecht, you're not over. So when you shecht the 2 sons, you're not over on anything. Then you shecht the mother. In this case, everybody agrees, soifik harbam, you only get 40 lashes. Why? Because you only did 1 isim by shechting the mother. Shchata, Ve'ez bita, if you shech the mother, and then you shech the mother's daughter. Ve'ez bas bita, then you shech the granddaughter. Sovik shmoinim. Now you have two pairs. You shech the mother, then the daughter, that's one isser. That daughter and the granddaughter is another isser. So it's 80. Let's see if we have the... No. Let me see if it was here. Okay. Shchata vezbita. Shchata vezbasbita. What if you shechted her? And so that's this case right over here. You shechted her and a granddaughter. So the second one, the great granddaughter. Sorry, shechted the grandmother and the great and the granddaughter. The grandmother and the granddaughter, 1, 2. And then you go ahead. Then number 3 is the daughter. She's the link between the granddaughter and the mother. When you shecht number 3, you're over on 1 and 3, and 2 and 3. Soivik is harbaim. You only get 40 lashes according to the Tanakama. Why? Says Rashi, the chad lavu, it's only one lav, one isser that yoiver, the oisav is benai, is one pasuk. The chad hasra, there's only one warning, the chad maisa. It was one action, one asra, one lav. You only get one malchus. That's the discussion today. No, you get 80. Says the Gemara, Amai, if you shecht 2 sons, then the mother maybe shouldn't be over anything. It says first you shecht the mother, then the sons. But if you shecht the sons first and then the mother, maybe not. Says the Gemara, no, I never had such a havamina. Why? The Sanya Oisiv is benoi, ainly ela Oisiv is benoi. Oisiv is simay minayin. How do you know if you go in reverse? You shecht the son first and then the mother afterwards. There's 2 types. There's 2 shchitas. So the Gemara doesn't like the fact that the pasuk is coming just to say that you shech the mother, then a son, and a son, then a mother. So first he shechted a cow, and then he shechted the mother, and then he shechted the son. In other words, he shechted. Let's see if we have a picture for this. I did a little doctoration here. The first shechita number 1, he shechted a cow. Shechita number 2, he shechted that cow's mother. Shechita number 3, he shechted that cow's child. So on that you chayav 2. He says the other cases are pasha. There's no reason for the Torah to say, oh, you could shecht a son and then the mother. That's pasha. To tell you a chiddush. Now what? That even if you shecht cow number 1, and then you shecht cow number 2, which is the mother of cow number 1, and you shecht cow number 3, which is the daughter of cow number 1, you're also over. Even though it's one maisa, it's one avera, one thing is the Gemara is going to discuss. So the Gemara, but this possibly sishchatu hamiboyle legufei. I need to tell you the halacha of you can't shech the mother and the son. It's not to tell us extra halachas. In Kain, you're right. In Kain, look like sishchat. Why does it say sishchatu? Lashon plural. By sishchatu, teaches us this other halacha that you over by shechting number 1 and its mother and its son. You over on 2 yisurim. If it only say without the vav, sishchat havamina chadin. Only Ruvain, one person, trade loy, but Reuven and Shimon, maybe 2 people are not over on this, or it's only one person shechting a mother and a son. But let's say Reuven shechs the mother and Shimon shechs the son, maybe you're not over. Chazarah, Sishchatu, no, it's even 2 separate people, but people trade, they're also chayiv. Says Gemara, Yishchatu, my Sishchatu. The fact it says Sishchatu, so I learned Shema Minotarti that first of all, 2 people are chayiv, but also this case that shechting a grandson and a grandmother on the same day, together with the daughter, you're over on 2 isur. Says the Gemara, Shchota ve'ezbas bita. So if you shecht a cow and its granddaughter, and then you shecht the middle one, the connector, the daughter of the grandmother, the mother of the granddaughter. Shecht the middle one. Is that confusing? Do you need to see this? Grandmother and granddaughter, number 2. And then number 3 is the daughter of the grandmother and the mother of the granddaughter. That's very confusing. No, not confusing? Okay. So the Mishnah says you get 40 malchus, 39. And according to the Simchus, you get 80. 78. My time of the Simchus. What Simchus reason? What if a person eats 2 pieces of fat that are also to eat in one awareness? So maybe Simchus holds, you hear this? This is unbelievable. That if you eat 2 things that are also to eat, in one awareness, you chayav 2 malchus. I'm going to show you a video, you're going to get it. And the truth is, you say this halacha in general, and we're going to explain what in general means. In other words, even when it's not gufim chulakim, even by food. We're telling you a big chiddush that Rabbanan are makel over here. That what? The afagav the gufim chulakim. Our case of Oisif B'nai is very unique. It's 2 isurim with 2 different bodies, animal bodies, living beings. They have a grandmother and a granddaughter. They're 2 different things. Chaylev is dead. It's not 2 different bodies. Even though it's 2 pieces and 2 different forks, it's not considered 2 different pieces because then it's not alive. So it's more of a chiddush to say that you're only chayiv 1 malchus on 2 separate animals. And that's why I said it over here. To tell you Rabbanan's chiddush. Or Dilma, or perhaps because of a Simchus. Maybe Simchus saw something else. In fact, if you eat 2 pieces of chaylev in one awareness, you really would only be chayiv 1. But by us, but over here, Simchus says no. Since they're 2 separate bodies, that's why I think that you should be chayiv 2. The bigger chiddush, I think it's mind-boggling to say that if you go to a restaurant, you eat McDonald's and it's a double burger, whatever they call it, you chayiv 5 times. Why? Because it has so many kizaysim. For every kizaysim that you eat, you chayiv. Because the Gemara is going to say, we have sra, not a sra. Says the Gemara, so now we're going to have some very cool cases. Love these cases. Mimai, Midasan, Hazureh, Kilayim. So you hear the Lashon? Kilayim. What's Kilayim? Kilayim is when you take the rice is when you take a grape seed together with a piece of wheat and you put it in the ground. That's Kilayim. So what's Kilayim? What's double? Loika. My loika, what do you mean you get malchus? I have to tell you that if you plant Kilayim, you get malchus. V'aid, and also, my Kilayim, it seems like you did 2 things. We're talking about a case where he gets double malchus. B'may skin, and what's the case? If he was warned twice, and he did 2 separate actions, Tanina, that we already learned. If he drinks wine all day long, he's only chayav 1. But if they told him, they warned him, and he drank, and then again they warned him a second time, if this hasra in between every drink, then you take a chayav for each one and one. If it's 1 hasra in the beginning of the day, so you chayav, even if you drink the whole day, you only chayav 1. So says the Gemara, so this is a little tricky. He planted kilayim at once. How do you plant kilayim at once? Says Rashi, with your right hand and with your left hand. He planted like a grape seed with wheat with his right hand. At the same exact time, he planted a grape seed with barley with his left. But there was only one warning. And that's what he's saying. That's what the chiddush over here is that he's chayiv 2 malchus. Mani. And who does this go according to? Ilay Rabbanon, our Rabbanon from our Mishnah that say that by Oisef is benoi, even though it's two separate animals, it's two different gufim mechulakim, you're not chayiv, only ones. The pligali, the sumchus hashul ma'asam. In our Mishnah, it's completely separate entities. Patra Rabban, they say it's potter. Hachalei kolshkin. Certainly, when it comes to seeds that are not gufim mechulakim, they're only seeds, and we said by inanimate objects, it's not considered gufim mechulakim. So of course, you shouldn't get double malchus. Elalav sumchasi. It must be sumchas. Here you have a sumchas saying, we have a source of sumchas saying that when it comes to like two pieces of chayla, be chayiv for each and every one. Loi Rabbanon. No, it's going according to Rabbanon. But it's not what you think. We're telling us a chiddush here. The ikatri gavni kilayim. There's two types of kilayim. The famous Reb Yosha throughout Shas says, the Reb Yosha, here, in order to be over in kilayim, says Reb Yosha, you have to have all three being planted in one shot. That's what he says. You have to have a grape seed, a barley, and wheat. 3 in order to be over. That's what he said. So they come, no, it's not true. It's either a grape seed with barley or grape seed with wheat. We actually paskin all types of vegetables. Oh, out came grapes. Tosma. This is fascinating. He ate from the right side of the animal, the sciatic nerve, right? The right side of the animal, the left side. Now we don't know which side it really is. Soivik Shmoinim, he gets 80 malchus. Reb Yehuda Omer, the Soivik El Arba'im, he only gets 40. Why? Because Giranosha is only on one side. Hechin Dami. If it's one after another, and he was warned twice, my time with the Reb Yehuda, why would Reb Yehuda say that you chayiv at all? You shouldn't be chayiv. Why? There's something called Asra Safiki. If the warning was a suffix. In other words, the people warning didn't know, they couldn't tell him that what he's doing is wrong because they didn't know if it's from the right or from the left. It's not considered a good asra. The sanya. A kid doesn't know who his father is, and he goes and he has a lot of built up anger. It's either this man or this man. So here we go. Last case, I think. He doesn't know his father is. He hits this one and then he hits the second one. He cursed one, he cursed Reuven, then he cursed Shimon. Or he hit Reuven and Shimon in one shot. Or he cursed both of them, Reuven and Shimon in one curse. Chayav. He's chayav. Why? Because it's asra safek. You're not sure. You can't warn him. You don't know who his father is. So we're talking about it's together and it's only one asra. And who's the Tanakama? Same question that we had before. In our case, by Yosef is Benoy. 2 animals, 2 different bodies. Rabbanan say, Potter from double Malchus, Hachali Koshkin, certainly over here he should be Potter. Elalav Sumchasi. So you see that Sumchas is Mechayiv even when you don't have a Guf Mechulik. V'Rabbanan. It's one after another and it goes according to Rabbanan. Haitan and Savalaki Idach Tara de Rabbi Yehuda. Dama Hasra Safik. Shmo Hasra. Let's stop over here. It's the last line and we're over an hour. That goes according to Rabbi Yehuda, the other Rabbi Yehuda. In Rabbi Yehuda we have a machlokes whether or not he says Asra Safik is Asra or not. So here it goes like the Mandom says Asra Safik is considered Asra. Rabboisai, have a wonderful day.
Merit the schus of spreading Torah throughout the world. Sponsor a shiur today. MDYsponsor.com or sponsor at MDY.com.